I played 100 Days of Tiny Bookshop. The long-awaited cozy game has finally arrived, and if you've ever fantasized about ditching your current life in favor of selling books by the shore, well, now is your chance, and now is my chance, because like I said, I got to play 100 days of the game. In that 100 days, we'll travel across a wide variety of locations, meeting quirky characters, and of course, trying to sell books. And honestly, this video is really me being bad at the selling the books, but you'll have to be the judge of that, I guess. I'm gonna be so honest, I was not anticipating making a 100-day video for Tiny Bookshop. I normally only do this for farming sim games. In fact, I haven't been making videos on my channel much at all recently because I've been going through some health problems. Ooh. But I got this game sent to me by the developers and I was very excited to play it, so I ended up playing it while I was recovering from a little procedure, and because I film literally every single game I play just in case I want to make a video. This game ended up being me wanting to test it out for an hour and me playing 50 of the 100 days in one sitting, so I figured might as well do the full 100 days. And that's what this experience is. And so, I just want to make it clear that this game was kindly gifted to me, but this video is in no way, shape, or form sponsored. They didn't ask me to do this, I asked myself to do this. And I like to give you guys all the facts, so I'm playing this one on Steam. Specifically, I played this entire thing on my MacBook Air, which is kinda crazy. That's kinda crazy for me, but the whole playthrough, 100 days, on my MacBook Air, from my bed, very cozy, and that's it. If you've seen other 100-day videos of mine, this one is definitely going to be a little bit more chill, but believe me, I still find tons of ways to play the game incorrectly and bring my own extra flavor to it. And if you even remotely enjoy the content, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more cozy gaming content. And without further ado, let's get started. And here we are at the title screen of Tiny Bookshop. I made an oopsie and forgot to record the music for the first day and a half, but it's all tutorial anyway, but just know there'll be pretty music at some point. Okay, we're taking a look at the settings. There's tons of stuff for accessibility and even to make the game a little easier, like there's a button that will just auto-accept recommendations. I'll explain that later. And you can also change the color of the book genres if you want, which is so nice. I love that. I kept everything default though, and then we got started. We don't know that much about who we are. All we know is we're leaving our old life behind in favor of opening our tiny bookshop, of course, like the title. And interestingly, we're starting this game in summer. Maybe I'm just used to farming some games, but normally, I feel like we always start in spring or even winter. I don't often start a game in summertime, but I think for this game it's perfect. Throughout the course of the game, whenever you are in a location, you're able to move around. You don't just have to stare at the bookshop the whole time. So I'm taking a peek all around, and then I'm introduced to Queen, the love of my life, Tilda, who is one of the NPCs, lovable characters you'll get to know. She used to own her own bookshop, and so she's kind of like helping you get a lay of the land here. Here we're learning how to play the game. On the right-hand side, you can see all of the books that are currently in my shop. There's different genres like crime, fantasy, all that good stuff, and you can see how many books are left based off of the number in front, and then I'm just, being nosy, taking a look around. Then we meet Fern, who is another one of the characters in the game. And Fern actually writes the newspaper. Fern pretty much writes every piece of writing that exists in town. And Fern asks why we're here, and I gave the edgy answer of searching for where I belong. And then this wasn't a real day in game, so we're quickly already going on to day 2, which is kind of, to be honest, this is kind of like day 1. Immediately we're introduced to the Buxtonbury review, and every day you'll see the newspaper, you'll see how many books you have in your storage, and you have the opportunity to purchase different book bundles and different items you can equip, which will have different properties that will help you boost certain sales or make them worse, all that good stuff. And the newspaper will tell you current events and what day of the week it is. And here we can pick what location we want to go to. There's only one location for now. And so then we're introduced to customizing our tiny bookshop, which I'm going to be honest, I make a lot of mistakes in this video. One of my major I guess nothing's really a mistake. You could play however you want, but in terms of gameplay here and of accomplishing the tasks, it's not all about making the bookshop look cute. But for a long time, I aim to just make the bookshop look cute. So I'm introduced to paint, and I'm like, wow, let's paint everything. I'm given a bunch of early starting items, and I settled with this design as my first bookshop painting color scheme, but it changes quite a bit throughout the course of this video, but that's what I went with at first. And Waterfront Square is the only location that we currently have, but you can see on the map little hints of different areas that we might just unlock in the future. It costs money to actually station your bookshop in the different places. You could see on this one, it was 6 coins. You can actually go into debt if you need to stay at a place, which I thought is kind of crazy, but I love that. And then here I am actually getting to stock the books for the first time, which I think is just so satisfying. You can see on the left-hand side my storage versus the right-hand side what is actually in the shop. My rule of thumb in this game is whenever I go to a new location, I kind of just do an even amount of all of the books because I'm not sure what the characters like yet. Oh, and do you hear the lovely music? Wow, what a great time for the music to come in. The game tells me I can interact with items, and interact with items I shall. I found a buoy, and then immediately I decide to push over surfboards. And am I annoying that bird or petting them? I like to think I'm a nice girl and not an absolute menace to society, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Then the gameplay is starting to happen. There's kind of 2 ways the book selling goes. We're just on the passive part, but don't worry, there's more as it goes. Tilda comes in and is like, hey, this location's cool, right? But what if I gave you a different one to go to? My friend Mary, she's got a cafe, you should go there. And then immediate pan left to my new buddy, Walt. We'll get to him in a second. First, I need to learn about my journal. The journal has everything in it. It tells you the locations, tells you the favored books amongst the people in those locations. Sometimes it even gives you special hints, and of course where you can collect stamps, which I think is the whole point of the game, to collect all the little stamps. I think it's cute. Anyway, there's Walt. He's my best friend. He just doesn't know it. He sells things in his little fisherman shop. I feel bad, I never buy anything from him. But I got like a quest anyway. And then Fern was like, I know you just got other locations, but hey, you should go to the far beach. And let me tell you something. I wish I never went to the far beach, but we'll get there. And what do you know, it's day 3, but it still kind of feels like day 1, we're still learning. But on this day I got very lucky, there was a couple bundles of books that were $0. They're just giving them away, and I'm just taking them. Speaking of taking them, I took that buoy, and great, now here it is. Out of the 2 locations I was given yesterday, I decided let's go in order that they were given to me. Let's make some sense here. So we're going to the cafe. Never been here, don't know what kind of books I like, so I'm just doing a little bit of everything. I'm trying to do rainbow order. Color sorting, it doesn't stay like that. If you're looking for it to stay like that during the course of this video, this is not it. This is not the right place. But anyway, here we are. New location unlocked. We're at the cafe. As always, we're opening our windows. We're opening our door. And I'm immediately rewarded for doing the bare minimum. And I'm introduced to the icons on the left. Sometimes there are certain things that pop up that will kind of add some differences to the day. Like today is sunny, so it's good. Sometimes there's more customers, and sometimes there's other icons that might, negatively interact with your business. You also will know when NPCs come. Tilda is like, hey girl, you're here. Great, thank God, because I need you to take my crap from my old bookstore, and can you store it and bring it to the flea market this weekend? I said sure. And now we learn how to actually do the main gameplay mechanic, which is the recommendations point. So how this works is a character will be like, hey, I need something. And you'll see down here, in this case, I'm looking for a piece of classic literature. I'm going to need at least 450 pages. Do you have anything like The Origin of Species? I didn't realize, but if you click Y right on the book, you'll see what The Origin of Species is in case you don't know, so you can kind of compare and contrast. In this case, my first guess was, okay, well, let's look for something a lot of pages and classic literature. Les Mis, I'm a theater girl, classic. And you'll see different kinds of recommendation outcomes. The one I just got was perfect, which means I picked the perfect book. You'll know it's perfect because in addition to stars, you'll also see hearts. And when you get that, you'll have a little boost. That's why it got all twinkly and beautiful and fun. And the recommendations go up when you do that. So here we are doing another one. And they're telling me here that sometimes, like, even though they're looking for a book similar to a travel book, I don't necessarily have to recommend them a travel book. Like, some genres kind of cross here. So in this case, they're looking for something to do with real life. They love a book like Top 50 Camper Van Destinations. I played it safe and went through by train through Spain, which is also another perfect recommendation, as you can see by the hearts. But believe me, I definitely don't get those recommendations right every time. That's where that setting comes in that I mentioned earlier. You can make it so they're always correct if you want it to be a little bit easier. Now I'm taking a look at my journal. Not only do I have stamps to collect, but I also have memory quests to do with each character. So this one where I'm taking Tilda's stuff is a memory quest. Okay, now we're moving on to day number 4. I purchased that hanging plant really just because it's cute. I'm still going for aesthetics. And I decide for the first time, let's go to the beach. Let's go get away. They say what they're gonna say. Now, there's nothing wrong with the far beach. I know I scared you there with that opening narration. Really, you'll see by the end of the video my problem with this beach. Here I am just being a menace, though, as always. I found a skull. You know, what's that doing there? And then I meet Harper, who is the cutest little NPC. She's looking for a book. She wants an encyclopedia. She's like, biographies are boring, but, like, I love this encyclopedia. Not that I'm judging her, but make it make sense. I decided, let's go for a fact book, because she likes a fact book. Why not do the dinosaur one? And I am on a roll, baby, and I got another perfect book. Even though she's saying, she's like, I'm too old for kids' books. Technically, that wasn't a kid's book. It's a fact book. Is it also a kid's book? Sure, maybe. Also, in case you haven't noticed, these are real books that you're having in your shop. You don't need to necessarily know the plots of the books to succeed in this game, but if you do, oh boy, it helps. Then we got another one. They really wanted a sexy Court of Mist and Fury moment, that person. Now, I'm not going to show you every single prompt I get throughout the course of this game, because frankly, the video will be 15 hours. But just know they happen a lot throughout the day, depending on how many customers you get, so I'll show them sometimes, but I want to leave the prompts up to you so that if you play the game, you can try and fail as many times as I do. Now we're on day 5. I bought some stuff. I am equipping some new books. As you can see, I'm focusing on the crime books a little heavy here because I learned that they like crime on this beach, which makes sense. There is a skull here. Maybe something bad happened here. Who knows? Here's my first strikeout. My problem with this game... No, my problem with... It's not the game, it's me. My problem as a player of this game is I just don't pay attention. So sometimes I'll read like a key word they say and then nothing else. So they'll be like, a fact book, but then they'll say, can't be over 200 pages. And I'll give them something that's like 700 pages. And then they're like, I hate this. Why would you do that? Anyway, you know what I love? Picking up shells. I'm given a marine biology device, which is just a mason jar, and Harper's like, hey, can you pick up 12 seashells for me? There was only 2 seashells on day 5, so we'll have to come back and pick up some more. And then I unlock the next location, the flea market. And I'm like, okay, perfect, because I've been holding on to Tilda's crap since the other day. So I equip that and have that outside, and I've never been to the flea market before, so once again, stocking the books, the nice little book sounds, and just doing a little bit of everything because I don't know what kind of books they like. You can see the arrows on the side, by the way, are indicating what items are boosting certain sales. So you could see I had a boost for crime books, which is the red one. I had a boost for drama books, which is like the turquoisey blue one. I'm gonna be honest, I don't utilize this mechanic correctly until a long time, so we're not gonna worry about it too hard yet. Harper gives me another challenge, as if I don't already have my hands full with seashells. She's like, you gotta buy a bunch of items. Then I meet Anne, who I think is always flirting with me, or she's just the nicest person ever, I don't really know. But she runs the little flower shop, so she's one of the vendors here. I didn't buy anything, I just took a look. And then I went to talk to this guy. He just gave me a typewriter. He's like, here you go. And then this guy sells art and also paint. And I feel bad. I don't buy a lot of this man's stuff, but I appreciate it every time. Okay, then I'm back to recommending books, and like I said, sometimes I strike out. Like in this case, they wanted something short and I recommended something long. Our definitions of a long versus short book, though, can sometimes vary, because maybe I think a book of 300 pages is not that long, but apparently they do. Anyway, I did Tilda's crap. Then I met Klaus, and he told me about the supermarket. And he's like, you should come to the supermarket. So guess where we're gonna go after this? We're gonna go to the supermarket. Tilda has her own shop here, and Tilda has the best stuff. So I finally took a look at her stuff, because she wasn't there for the first half. And the best thing she had was this storage box, which lets you be able to sell more books. And I was like, heck yeah, dude. So I closed my shop for the day. I ended the day with just $12. Well, that's certainly not a lot, is it? Going into day 7, I am spending more money than I actually have. I'm going into debt for the first time, actually, going to the beach, which is fine. I only had about 7 coins, but it was 15 to go over to the beach. Here I learned that some items are interactable, like the typewriter I can interact with. You'll see what I mean in a second. And here I am getting to stock my little bin, my little baby bin for the first time. So cute. Once again, I don't think I'm gonna over-explain my choices of what books I'm stocking quite yet, because at this point, it beats me. When I'm playing this, I'm like, I don't know, I'll do this one, it looks cute. Oh, I think they like these ones, maybe I'll do that, whatever. You can see I'm getting some achievements down in the bottom right as well, and here I am at the market, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to say the name of. Is it Mega Marché is the name, I think? I just been calling it the supermarket, but you know what I mean. Now I find out the typewriter is like sentient, and I'm writing my novel. I am a writer. I'm a writer in real life, so this was definitely hitting home for me, and each day I can work on my novel. Here is a trash can that I am bound to knock over, and then there's a sheep. Do you see the sheep in the distance? Why is there a sheep? Do you think he has a Costco membership? I don't know, but Klaus is here. Klaus works at the supermarket, and Klaus is like, yeah, but my real dream is to be in a band. And I'm like, I feel that. So now I'm trying to help Klaus find inspiration for his band, so I have to do some correct recommendations. Some of the NPCs always tend to like the same genre. For Klaus, he always comes at me asking for a non-fiction, historical kind of book, and what a perfect book other than historical niche, right? And you can see I got the little boost, everything is sparkling and twinkling, and it's beautiful. I end the day with $33, and going into day 8, I'm starting to get the swing of things a little bit more. I'm doing the same routine, I'm always buying books, and I'm really starting to pay attention to, okay, like, the whole point of the game is to get to know these NPCs, they all have character arcs, have fun, hang out in my little bookshop, and mainly, I don't know, collect some stamps and have a good time. And I'm determined, so I went back to the far beach. And I, just wanted to collect some seashells. I got the achievement of coming to this beach multiple times, so that's one of the reasons I came here. Here I am, destroying the scenery yet again, kicking this beach. Well, what are beach balls for if not to kick them? Am I destroying it, or am I just, having a good time? We can be the judge. You could be the judge. I'm not a part of it. Anyway, here I am. I'm writing my novel. I decided to make it about death. Why? I was in a mood. I was in a mood that day. That's the explanation. That's all I got for you. Yes, it's a cozy gaming channel. Sometimes we like murder and death. Okay, whatever. These people on the beach like it too. There was a skull. Do you remember? Okay, here we are doing another recommendation. This person likes galaxies, wormholes, and stuff like that. I tend to be stupid here, and I'm like, oh yes, fantasy is galaxy. Magic and science are the same. They're not. I make this decision wrong so many times. So many times people are like, hey, I want like a sciencey outer space book. And then I'm like, yes, here's a magic thing. But in this one I got it right, which is nice. A Wrinkle in Time, which I've never read. I read the word science and I was like, that looks good to me. There's a couple prompts that stumped me a lot. It's the, when is it sci-fi and when is it magic? Sometimes hurts me. And you'll see some other ones that embarrassingly stump me a little too much. Look at my stamp. I pull up this journal you didn't see most of it because I cut it out every 5 seconds. I pull up this journal all the time just to look at my stamps. I'm like, wow, Look at my stamps. Look at what the future holds. I need to do more things. I'm usually not, like, super insane about achievement hunting, but in this game, I have this strong desire to do every single thing. Now, you're probably wondering about, like, the day length and, like, how often is it just, like, people buying books themselves, and how often is it like this where you're doing the recommendations? It's a nice mix, to be honest. I played this game, I don't want to say while I was doing other tasks that are important, like working. That didn't happen. I don't know what you're accusing me of. But it was nice because there are some moments where you can kind of just let it go and people, shop as they please. But I do think there is enough to engage with here with the interactions of recommending things. As you get busier and busier, you'll do more and more of these, but I just feel like it's a nice balance. So sometimes if you want to just like chill, you can let things happen. Sometimes if you want to really think about the books, you can. And you don't have to know these books, like I said, but there's no time limit. So you can really in this case, I don't really know anything about travel books. I could have looked up these books and read more about them, but I didn't. Then I get the task that will haunt me for the rest of the video. It seems simple. Sell 15 fantasy books at the far beach. That shouldn't be that hard, right? You'd think. Yeah, we'll come back to that. It's day 9, and I decide to visit the market because I have to visit it 3 times for a stamp, and I want a stamp. Also, my typewriter is still living, and we're still writing a novel together somehow. Also, I love this game because the real books give me so much nostalgia. Like, the fact that there are plays in here. I am a playwright in real life, so it just really, when I started to realize there are plays, I'm like, wait, this is for me, this is for me. I feel like everyone would feel like that, though. There's all different genres. Okay, then I did a successful recommendation for Klaus, so I just have to do one more. The next day, I spent all my money on a cooler. Because it's cool, cracking open a nice cold Diet Coke on the beach. Sounds like a good time to me, especially selling fantasy books, am I right? How hard could it be to sell 15 fantasy books? It can't be that hard, right? Like, I wrote an entire novel, a dark drama. Sounds like my real life in a couple days. How hard could it be to sell some fantasy books, right? My typewriter dies after writing our novel, which is very edgy and poetic. You know what else died? My hope of selling fantasy books. I only sold 7 out of 15. So I immediately just powered through. Let's just go to the next day. And once again, I am just astounded by the collection of books. Seeing Frog and Toad together as one of them, I forgot that those books existed, and it just took me right back to being a kid, and I keep loving these moments. Okay, Klaus is like, hey, come here on a Monday because we have mega savings day and there's tons of discounts and there's going to be lots of customers. And I'm like, wow. And then another nostalgic book for me. I was such a big John Green person. I was Looking for Alaska. I've read that. Misery? I love that. Okay, the movie. I've never read the book. I'm so sorry. So I keep finding fun little bits and pieces here and there's of books and stories I'm familiar with, and it's just so fun. I really like that. I don't think I fully computed that the books were going to be real, so the more I go through it, the more I keep getting surprised that that is the case. Okay, here we are back at the far beach. I was like, what if there's more fantasy books? If I have more, then they'll buy more. That's the logic, right? At this point, I don't have an item to boost the fantasy book, so I'm just hoping for the best. But at least I found all of the seashells finally. Also, again, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm showing some of my strikeouts. I get the answers wrong. A lot. The answers wrong don't necessarily hurt you, it's just that you don't get the little boosty bonus. So don't worry if you're worried about not knowing enough books and getting the answers wrong for the recommendations. It's not that, nothing in the game is that deep, it's definitely very, very chill. On day 13, the flea market is upon us again, and I had to see what I was spending my money on today. I've got my eye on that armchair. I'll come back for you, don't worry. Then I was checking out the art guy, and I accidentally bought that painting. Didn't mean to buy it, but I'm supporting local business, and I can't feel too upset about that. Then Anne is like, hey, I need you to take this sickly fern. This sick fern, I need you to take it from me, okay? And I said, okay. She's like, please, someone left it at university. I need you to take it. Then, what is this baby doll? The description literally says absolutely cursed vibes, and so absolutely I bought it. And then I finished my shell goal with Harper like I did the other day. She just realized it. Sometimes you finish a goal, but then you gotta go back and talk to them for them to realize. And so she's like, okay, I'm gonna take the shells and I'm gonna make you something with it. Sound cool? I said, sounds great. And then Klaus wants one more recommendation for me. And typical Klaus, he wants another, I don't wanna call him boring. He wants another fact historical book. We have different tastes, Klaus, but that's okay. So I did my recommendation for him, and we did pretty good. I ended the day with $89, which is pretty good because I bought like an $86 painting by accident, so it worked out, I think. On day 14, I had some free books, so again, it felt like a reward. I put up my painting that I didn't even want in the first place, and here is where I start falling into bad behavior, and I think the way to play the game is, if I equip every item, then I'll boost everything, right? But as you can see, my daily expenses goes up in the bottom. As you add more things, it makes it more expensive to operate your bookshop, meaning you shouldn't just equip things to equip things. And if you're trying to boost every single genre, then you're kind of just canceling it all out. There's no point to boost every single genre. But I don't really realize that for a while anyway. We're back at the far beach. The most I've ever sold is 11 out of 15 fantasy books, and that's simply not enough. Here I am, just doing okay. You can see sometimes you get a recommendation good, but it's not perfect, so you just get the stars and not the hearts. I'm fine with that. Sometimes I'm not perfect, but then I am. You never know. And here I am, so close. 14 fantasy books sold. Somehow, equipping literally everything actually did pay off. But Harper interrupts me and she's like, look at the little seashell garland I made you. And it's so cute. But I can't even enjoy it because I was one book short from the goal and I was so upset. Day 15 and it's Mega Savings Day. I have not forgotten. But first, I decide it's time for our very first, well, I guess second extreme bookshop makeover. I decided I wanted a more summery pastel palette to kind of go with the shell garland I was just given. So here I am doing some lilac, some pink, and I really like how it came out. I think it's so cute. Like I said at the beginning, I changed this bookshop quite a few times during the course of the 100 days, but that's the point. Okay, so it's our first time in this Mega Savings Day, and we have one of these dancing guys, and I love him. And I also found a free birdhouse, which was pretty cool. And yeah, going to this mega sale on Mondays is always a good idea. I mean, I'll let you just take in the sales for a second here. Okay, isn't that so satisfying? And I even got an achievement for selling 30 books in one day, which is the most I had ever sold at this point, and I felt pretty special about it. Day 16, and I got one thing on the mind. Fantasy books. What if I begged people to take them? And finally, it happened. I don't know why this was so difficult for me, but I finally sold all the fantasy books, and I even made some extra money. Day 17, and I'm bouncing around between the market and the beach because I got unfinished business and I want to check some things off. Really, I'm here for Klaus to give my final recommendation. Klaus wanted nonfiction and niche, so I decided to go with My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness, and that was the ticket to getting Klaus to come up with inspiration for an entire album, which is great, so I could mark this quest off of my list. And I was very excited to do so. Day 18, and I bet you forgot about the cafe, because we haven't been there in a while, but we're going back to the cafe. And I double-checked what kind of books they liked, and they liked the travel books and the classic books. We did some drama. I'm starting to get a little bit more of a clue of how I should stock the books, but not quite yet enough to really say anything significant about it yet. I'm starting to slightly learn. It was a rainy day, so it was kind of slow, but I did get to meet Miriam, so I got to meet one of the other NPCs, and at this point, I've almost met sort of all of them. You mean to tell me it's day 19 and I haven't looked at the calendar once until right now? The only thing really to note is that there's a bonfire coming up. It's almost the end of the summer. I decided today to go back to the waterfront because this is my other area I forget to go to. I talked to Walt, and once again, I didn't want any of his stuff. I'm sorry, Walt. But he's like, hey, I'm gonna give you a task. Sell 20 books, just like any 20 books. And I'm like, easy, fine. And then I decided to look through the telescope. I looked into it before and there was nothing there, but today I was able to see a lighthouse. And can you guess what happened? I bet you can't. Yes, okay. I got a new location, the Lighthouse, and a new challenge to visit the lighthouse. And then the entire course of the game changes right in this moment as I found the cutest little puppy, and they give me a quest that haunts me for the rest of the video, which is to give them a treat. And I'm like, wait, okay, what? There's been no food. The only thing I could think to give them is the skull that I have. Like, am I gonna give them human bones? Like, I don't know what to give them. So this is me, not pictured as me frantically tapping. Like, there's gotta be like a French fry or something. There's gotta be like something. There's nothing. Nothing. It's day 20 and it's flea market day yet again. I always run to see what everybody has. My favorite items of today was the review board, which I didn't buy this time. I wanted to take a look to see what everything else was. Once again, the poor art dealer is getting nothing from me ever, but the art is cute. And honestly, I'm not really buying a lot from Anne either as far as flowers go. All my business goes to Tilda. I agonized here between the newspaper rack and the armchair. Really, I should have read what they do more. The newspaper rack is a better item, but the chair was too cute to pass up, so I bought that. And I still walked away with $55, even though I spent quite a bit of money on that chair. Day 21, and the strategy is still, what if I just place all the items? What if every item I get, I just put that out? And then I went to the Lighthouse, which is honestly probably my favorite location. You'll see why later, but mainly look at the sheep. I mean, the sheep is reason enough. And I got a cute little crate of flowers. There were lots of birds to pet/bother, and there's lots of other little areas to look at. And I also got to meet Tomas, who is one of my favorite NPCs. Again, you'll see why later. And there's actually like working bulletin boards all across the entire game, so you can read some factual information if that suits your fancy, or you could just pet the sheep like I do. That's my favorite part. Day 22, and it's a good thing they were selling drama books because one of my new quests is to sell 15 drama books at the Lighthouse, which we'll get to, but today is Mega Savings Monday. So we went back to the market, I found a recycling bin that I stole, and then I talked to Klaus, and Klaus was like, I feel like such a sellout, what should I do? And my only options were sell out or sell out. So I did sell out, and now I have the most difficult quest to sell out my entire stock, which is 48 books in one single day. And I was like, how in the world is that going to happen? On this day, of course I wasn't trying, I only sold 26, so I was gonna have to get a little bit better at the game if I ever wanted to check that off of my journal. Bring on the drama in day 23 because I went back to the Lighthouse to sell my drama books. And I even learned a little bit more about Fern and how they're literally the only writer doing all the things. They have to hit a deadline. Luckily, I recommended a perfect book for them to help them, and I'm excited to get to know more about them. I like getting to know all about these NPCs. This day in the game, I sold 9 out of 15 of the drama books, which was pretty good, and I ended the day with $115, so definitely a profitable location. On day 24, I realized I was never rewarded properly for selling my fantasy books. I never got my stamp, and I wanted the stamp. So I went back to the far beach for the stamp that I deserved, that I was owed. Harper, you better pass it over. This was so cute. I actually got to watch some sand castles being built. This game really does change as the seasons go, and little things like this I always just get so excited about. I have never made a sandcastle that impressive for sure. Anne gave me this plant, which is weird. It boosts some genres and hurts some other genres, so it's kind of like a mixed kind of thing. Then I got my stamp, and then Harper's like, hey, we need money for shovels for our sandcastle. Can you collect a bunch of money for us so you could gather $100 for the beach gear? Now, I totally messed up here. I thought this was only applicable when I was on this beach. This is one of those items, just always keep it equipped because you can earn money even if you're not in this location. And I definitely made a mistake, and I probably could have made money a lot faster than I actually did if I realized what was going on. So we're 25 days in, and it's the first time I've looked at this menu, which makes it very clear to see which items are boosting what stats, except I don't even really understand it yet at this point. I'm not even paying attention that there are certain items that bring down your customer count. Like, I just placed something, and now my customer count is lower, and I don't even realize it yet. And, in fact, there's an even simpler menu than this one that I don't discover until much later on. So once again, I'm straight going off of vibes at this point with zero skill. The skill, non-existent, other than the fact that, oh, we're going to the Lighthouse today, better bring some drama books. And this I thought was interesting. This person wanted something like Salome, and I actually had Salome. So I was like, well, what happens if I offer them Salome? Wrong. If they ask for something like something, don't give them the thing that's like the thing because they've already read the thing. Also, this is one of my favorite parts of the game, is reading descriptions of books I've never heard of. I've never heard of You've Reached Sam, but it looks like a crazy, daunting young adult novel that I probably would like. This person was weirdly roasting young adult novels, but I love them so much, and whatever. But I did complete the drama goal, which was very exciting, and I left with a whopping 163 coins, baby. Day 26, I have to drag my booty back to the Lighthouse because I didn't get my stamp. I didn't get my stamp. Tomas, I want my stamp. I got my stamp, thank goodness. And then I was brought on a new challenge, which is my favorite. This is like a very performing arts heavy area, so the challenge was to recommend 3 plays, but nobody wanted any plays today. They didn't want to hear about my plays, but maybe a different day. Day 27 is flea market day yet again, and pretty much the flea market will have the same items until you buy them, so I kind of already knew what I was working with here, and I had one item in mind, you know, the newspaper rack. I didn't even realize how good of an item this was. I, again, was not paying attention to the stats. I was going off of cute aesthetic, and I was like, wow, how cute. But this is such a good item because it helps boost your customer count, and it's just really easy to just like leave on always. Then Klaus let me know of a new location to visit, the castle ruins. And then I needed to buy some more things from the flea market to hit that one goal, so I decided to buy this kind of muted green shade that I thought would be good for the fall. I also realized I could equip the money box, so I equipped the money box and I made some more money toward the sandcastle dreams. Day 28, it is the last day of summer and we only have one option. We have to go to the far beach today because this is where the big bonfire event is taking place. And look, you can see the start of the bonfire. We have all of our friends coming to visit. Anne is sad that she has to go back to university, but we unlock the university, so we get to go there soon, which is very exciting. And I feel like Anne is, again, always flirting with me. Maybe Klaus is too, I don't know, but Klaus is nervous because Klaus brought their acoustic with them, and I was like, yeah, rock on, you're gonna do great, I'm such a good friend. Harper crying that summer is over. I get it. And this made me so sad. Harper was like, we didn't even finish the sandcastles. So I thought that I wasn't able to raise the money still, and I had totally blown my opportunity. But don't worry, I didn't. Then Tilda explains what the bonfire is going to be. Pretty much we have to burn something we want to get rid of from the past year, which I love. Give me a picture to burn. Fern has some social problems, okay? Fern gets a little nervous with talking to people and making friends, and I assured them, like, hey, we're in the same boat, you know? And then all of the characters in the game are going around and they're burning the different things that they want to change from their past. And this is very sweet. Like, these seasonal events that happen are really just like beautiful atmospheric experiences, and maybe because I was a little emotional while I went into playing this game, but I don't know, they just definitely hit me. Like, Anne's was being afraid of failure, and I'm like, I get you, Anne, do the snaps, you know, like the poetry snaps. And Fern is like, I just feel alone and like no one understands me. And I'm like, oh, Fern, I get you. I give you the snaps. And then Walt is confident. Walt is like, I trust in my experience. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be like you, Walt. You're the best. I love you, buddy, even though I never come to visit you. And Miriam is like, I am not responsible for other people. Like, I can only control myself, which I understand too. Sometimes I want to control all the people. You can't. Don't do it. And then Klaus is going to play a song, and I'm just going to let you listen to the song. I'm not going to talk over the song.
Sleepless, no reply, dreaming a kingdom high. The pages always just outside of sight. What do they hide?
Did you clap? You better have clapped. And then Tilda is like, I am needed. Which that's not something you want to get rid of. That's something you want to keep. I'm confused about the rules of the bonfire, but maybe the rules are the friends we made along the way. So, okay, everybody put their beautiful notes in the fire. What the heck am I gonna put in there? I didn't bring my ex-boyfriend's picture. I left it back at home, you know? I don't have it. So the thing I decided to leave behind was the fear of the new and unknown, because that felt kind of true to what I was going through in my life at this moment too. It just like emotional experience, bringing it back to in person. And then yeah, we're ending off the summer. I love how this scene looks with the fairy lights, the bonfire, and even though I'm 28 days in, I still have not done everything I want to do in Tiny Bookshop. So at this point, I'm very excited to keep playing and see what my very favorite season, fall, has in store. Fall means it's time for a new look, so here we are changing up the bookshop once again, and I wanted to give it a kind of earthy, rustic fall look. Fall is my favorite season, so I was very excited to change up the shop. This is what it looked like after I put all of my decorations, and once again, I'm still kind of just going for aesthetics over here instead of practicality or gameplay mechanics. And I went to the university for the first time, and wow, is this not the most beautiful autumnal vibe ever? This person's asking the right questions of if they could bring their pet to school, same. I got my stamp just from coming to visit, and then I immediately noticed when I was looking that I was able to talk to this person, and it turns out they're a professor, and they gave me the quest to recommend 3 perfect books for them, which turns out to be a little bit harder than you would think. This first one is they're looking for a book similar to an abridgment of Murray's English Grammar, which is a textbook, I thought. So I was like, oh, cool, let me recommend a math textbook. And it was a good recommendation, but it wasn't a perfect one, so it didn't count toward the goal, and I was going to have to try a little harder next time I saw her. Then I went and explored the university. This is so beautiful. I didn't go to a university like this. I went to a school in Manhattan, so I always love college campuses like this because I never really got to experience one, and I made a lot of money here. I made like $98 here, so we might be coming back to college. Day 30, we had another new location to visit, the castle ruins, and of course I got my stamp just for showing up. I didn't really know what to expect here, but this definitely was not what I was imagining. There are these adorable little children that are called these preppy pioneers, and they're pretty much having like, well, not summer camp, fall camp in the fall, and they just want to know about like scary stories is their whole vibe. So they want me to recommend them some really, really scary stories. This was unfortunate for me because I only had a few crime books in stock at this time, but I did my best, and I really like The Shining, so thought maybe they would think it was scary. They did. They actually called it disgusting, which I thought was funny. Then I found a cannon, and I don't think I should have been able to shoot it, but I did. And then I met Moira, and once I met Moira, I got the achievement for meeting all of the NPCs in the whole gosh darn game. Day 31, strategy's creeping in. I'm going to the Lighthouse, and they like classics. Well, they like plays. I know I need to sell plays, so I'm stocking a lot of drama and classics because they are usually the plays. That's strategy, right? And here I am actually equipping things that boost the drama and boost the classics. I still don't recognize that the customer count is in the negatives because I'm not fully paying attention yet, but baby steps, baby steps. And then like I said, we're at the Lighthouse, going to sell to the drama geeks. I have to recommend some plays, and unfortunately for me, not that many people were looking for plays today. This person was looking for a comedy play, and I had nothing. But I was like, Henry the whatever, is it funny? Probably not, but it's a play, and it was good enough. And that's about all I did, and I ended the day with about $69, so moderately okay. Day 32, and things take a mischievous turn because there's been a murder. Okay, well, no, someone deflated the dancing sales thing. I don't know what you call these balloons, the mascot. Someone deflated it, and we are being put up to find out who done it. So we got an investigation board and some files to help us. The game literally tells you, while you want to investigate, make sure to keep the bulletin board equipped. Guess what I forget to do? Keep the bulletin board equipped, guys. Just do that. And Klaus is like, I don't know who did it. And then Harper gets very involved. So Harper is like on your case now the whole rest of the game. If you don't figure out this murder, Harper is going to be so disappointed in you, and that is going to sting like nothing else. Day 33 and murder continues to be in the air because I decided to go back to the castle ruins to try to sell the pioneers scary stories. I stocked a bunch of it, and I even put up the little bulletin board, you know, in case there's any murder suspects or deflating suspects. Stephen King hasn't done me wrong yet, so we went with Pet Sematary, and that turned out to be a scary enough choice. And then later, I brought out The Shining again, and it's like they forgot that I recommended it to them already. When in doubt, Stephen King, and also Death Note. And that was enough to get the badge for recommending the scary stories. I just had to talk to them one more time, and I walked away with my stamp, which is all that I really dream of in life, is filling my book with stamps. Day 34, and it's flea market day yet again, but this one is very different because it's fall and there's some new things we'll get to see. But first, Klaus is like, I need to find a stage for my band. You should go talk to that theater kid over at the Lighthouse. But first, hang up this poster of my band and see if we could get a bunch of people interested. And I said, okay, bestie, anything you want. But then, this is the best part of the game. I mean, like, look at all of the Halloween stuff. I couldn't decide between the cauldron and the candelabra, but I said, we'll get the cauldron first and we'll come back for the candelabra. Then we got some exposition here. Tilda is letting us know that she's having some hip problems. And this is the start to a little arc that we're gonna go through with Tilda. We'll get back to that, but for now, I finally bought that review board that I'd been eyeing for a while. And even though I spent all my money, at least I made $10. That's something. Then we were off to the Lighthouse on day 35 because I had to get this ball rolling about this theater stage business. And also I had to finish recommending some plays. I had just one more play to recommend to finish the quest of recommending the plays. And while I was here, I raised enough money for the sandcastle materials. And I was very excited about that because, like I said, I thought I missed my opportunity because now it's fall, summer's over. Doesn't matter. We can still raise money for sandcastles. And I made $93 that day. Day 36, it's Mega Savings Monday, and mega sales were made. Mega sales were made. Nothing else really happened, but I did make $74, and I was pretty happy about that. Okay, so I teased you before. The selling 15 fantasy books before at the Far Beach, that was the easy goal. That one was to sell 15 fantasy books in total. Now, I have the goal to sell 15 fantasy books in one single day. And you saw how difficult it was for me to just do 15 in total. How in the world do you think I was gonna do with 15 in one day? Yeah, not very well. You can see on the right-hand side, I have the fantasy books boosted quite a bit, so I was hopeful that maybe the items that I was using would attract the fantasy lovers, but not enough, because I only sold 7, and that's not 15. Day 38, and I bought the dusty cobwebs that I've been staring at all season. Not only are they a great Halloween item, but they boost fantasy sales, so those might might come in handy, but for now, we're taking a trip back to the university because I need to woo this teacher. She wanted a classic piece of literature, but won't read anything under 450 pages. Luckily, Great Expectations is 493 pages, and I was right on the money. It was a perfect recommendation, so that added toward our goal of recommending 3 perfect books. Then Anne was like, hey, I pointed some of my student friends your way. You need to sell 15 fact books or classic books. And lucky for me, I stocked a lot of both. So I already sold 9 out of the 15 total I needed, just not even trying. Day 39, I was owed a stamp, so I went to the Lighthouse to get the stamp I deserved. I sold those plays, and now I want to be rewarded for my hard work. So luckily, Tomas gave me my stamp and was letting me know that everybody is reading Julius Caesar, and what if we put on a production? But they'll tell me more later on, just to come back and see what's in store later. Fair enough for me. Day 40, will my cobwebs bring me the success of selling enough fantasy books? Did I boost it enough? That's the question. The answer, no, because I still don't realize my customer count is in the negative, and there's only so many people that walked by. I sold 7 out of 15, not even half. Day 41, and it is flea market day yet again. Honestly, the regular vendors just weren't doing it for me. This whole season, there's only one shop I want to visit. And it's the one with the little pumpkin. I mean, look at the pumpkin figurine. I could not handle. And the candelabra too, very cute, and both boost fantasy sales, which obviously I need, especially because I'm striking out on the recommendations today. Not my best work. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or what, but I made myself feel better. I bought some daisies. Day 42 and stocking tons of classics and tons of facts could only mean one thing. We're going to university. It was a stormy day, so I didn't want to take on any of the crazy challenges, but I didn't even succeed in this challenge of recommending the professor good things. She wanted a sad book. I thought I clicked a sad book. Guess it wasn't. But on the other hand, Moira told me about the Halloween festival and how I need to equip different Halloween items to win this contest. So that was fun. Looking forward to that. Otherwise, it was a slow day. Day 43 and the interior is looking crazy, but I have a kind of plan at this point, which is equip everything, boost everything, because it's Mega Savings Monday, and I need to sell out my whole stock, 48 books, for that one goal. Also, in case you're wondering, the murder mystery, I've accomplished nothing so far. I was doing really good with the book sales today. I must have boosted the right thing, but I came just a little too short. I sold 40 books out of 48, and I was screaming. At least I ended up making a lot of money. An excess of fantasy books and some cobwebs. You know where we're going, the far beach. I need to sell my fantasy books, and I only sold 10 out of 15, so we're just gonna move on. So I ran back to the university on day 45, trying to see if I can make these goals happen, which was to find the perfect recommendation. Today, the professor wanted a poetry book, preferably written by a woman. I was not sure the gender of the author of this collection of poems, but I must have hit it perfectly because I got the love reaction, and so it counted toward our goal, and we just need one more. Speaking of one more, I just needed to sell one more book to do my fact and classic goal, and I did it. I got my stamps, and at least I accomplished something here. Day 46, it's my first time showing my face in Waterfront Square in a hot second. I got 2 reasons to avoid this place. One, I never buy anything from Walt. He just is giving me stuff at this point because I never buy him stuff. I feel so bad. And then he gave me this quest, which was to equip 3 of the ship kind of items, and I already had 3 equipped, so I just instant stamp. Then I found the cannonball that I shot a little bit ago, which was kind of crazy. And then the other reason I can't show my face is not because I throw the surfboards on the ground. It's because I still don't have a treat for the dog over here. I don't know what to give him. I have yet to come into a food item. I solved my troubles, at least with Walt, by buying this cool bottle candle set. So I made one of the two of them happy. Day 47, I was checking into my memories, and I realized enough people liked Klaus's poster, so I can continue working on this whole venue situation. So I went back to the Lighthouse to see my favorite little theater geeks, and they were practicing. Look at them. I love their outfits, by the way. Like, I want to be in this game so bad. Like, I could fit in. Let me in this little circle. Like, I'm ready to do some Shakespeare. Let's do it. And then Tomas is like, okay, we're doing Julius Caesar, but we need some cash. And I heard you want to be a patron of the arts, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you to pay for 3 different things, and I need you to have money, okay? I'll be back. We'll talk about it then. In the meantime, I have some gripes with this game. This person wanted a book like this architecture book, and I recommended them an architecture book, but it wasn't the right architecture book, and I have a bone to pick. But anyway, this is the first time I noticed that Moira and their friends sit out here, and you can actually talk to them to rate your Halloween decorations if you wanted. I didn't have that many out, so I decided not to do it today. Day 48, it's flea market day again, and I saved my money just for one person. You already know, I went to the Halloween person, and they had this gothic table, which I thought was so cool, and also, it boosts fantasy sales. And we all know I could use that. Then we get some more Tilda exposition about how she's actually going to schedule a hip replacement surgery coming up, which we actually get to be a part of in the game. But don't worry if you're starting to get nervous as this is going down a kind of sad and triggering route. Everything I've experienced is pretty light and positive. Speaking of positive, Klaus was so excited that so many people liked the poster and is like, yay, keep working on the theater thing. And the day went pretty good. Even though it was raining, I had a lot of business and I bought things and I still walked away with $101. Day 49, I went back to the university. I feel like I usually go here on days when it's stormy because I don't really mind it being slow, and I was confident I could finish my goal with the professor and I would feel like that was enough for the day. So I had just one recommendation left, and today she wanted something niche with less than 200 pages, so that was kind of open. I decided to stick with a fact book, and it was a perfect choice, and therefore I finished the goal of the perfect recommendations, and I got my stamp. And not only that, but I also got a statue, or a bust. I don't know when it's a statue and when it's a bust, but this one's called a bust, and then the rest of the day was a bust. Day 50, we are halfway through, and I still at this point have not really learned that I need to boost my customer count with other items, and maybe that would help me sell more books. But anyway, it's Mega Savings Monday yet again, and I'm really trying to sell 48 books, my whole stock. I sold 35, so I did worse than last time, and we're just not going to talk about it. We're just going to go right into Day 51, I'm going to torture myself with the other really hard task of the fantasy books. I'm equipping everything I could possibly find that gives me a fantasy boost. But look, customer count 0%. 0% boost. Like, I still don't realize I can boost the customer count if I put some other, like, easy items that I already have. I only sold 10 out of 15. That's not that bad, but it's not good. Day 52, and I gain a brain cell because I finally realized the customer count. I noticed my customer count was negative 10%, and then it was negative 7, and then based off of adding different items, it was plus 0%, so it was neutralized. So I learned there's a couple items like the guest book, like the newspaper stand, items that you should just always have equipped if you can, because they'll help to boost your customers. In this case, it was, I think, storming that day, and that's why I started with a negative %. So this just got me back up to normal. So I'm starting to kind of learn how to play the game, but believe it or not, there's actually a bunch of other stuff I haven't figured out yet. Anyway, Tomas is like, we gotta buy lights for the stage. Are we getting the cheap ones, or are we getting the expensive ones? And I said, I'm a patron of the arts, baby. Take my credit card, we're getting the expensive ones. And then a nostalgic moment, I love Perks of Being a Wallflower so much, so I was excited to recommend that one. Day 53, and I have my customer count plus 10%. I've got my fantasy boosted 7%. I'm stocking tons of fantasy books. This has to be the moment I sell all of my fantasy books at the far beach, right? Like, at this point, surely I'm doing the right things. But alas, I sold 7. I did worse. Or was that the same? I guess that was the same. I did the same. Day 54, we're shaking it up with another redesign. I wanted to do a Halloween vibe. I didn't have any orange paint, so I went for black and purple, and then a couple things I forgot to customize, so they're still brown, but don't worry about it. And then I went to the Lighthouse because I want to pay for things. I want this play to happen, and I want to be financially responsible for it. So I ran into Tomas, and Tomas was like, okay, today we gotta get either the cheap props or we gotta get like the fake blood, all the stops, expensive props. And you already know I'm giving them a premium production here, so I paid for the most expensive one. Day 55, it's the flea market yet again, and I am strolling right up to the Halloween stall, and it turns out I've already bought all the items. The only thing that's left are some books, which I do end up getting later in the day once I make some of my money. I love that so much about the flea market. You can make some money selling books and then go back and buy things. Like, I bought that sand bucket. Day 56, it is the last day of fall, and we only have one option of where we can go. We're going to the cafe because that is where the I think they're calling it the Fear Fest. That is what happens. I want to call it the Fear Factor. It's not the Fear Factor, it's like the Fear Fest. So I'm putting out all of my Halloween items, and I love how the bookshop is looking today. I am being practical here and trying to boost a bunch of different things, but honestly, whenever I go to the markets, I kind of just boost all the books because you get lots of customers no matter what. It's not as important as, say, going to the far beach, you know? But I added a lot of scary books specifically because I figured people might want to lean toward those because it's Halloween. Then we saw Tilda's old shop is glowing. I'm a little scared, don't know what's happening there, but I got an achievement just for showing up, and you know I love a participation point. And here we are starting the day, and you can see they're zooming in on some of my decorations, I guess to kind of track how many I did, and I did it right. I put all of the decorations. Moira was proud of me, and that was, most important to me. Fall Fear Fest. See, that's what it's called. I thought this was so cute. I really liked this so much. I love seeing all of the jack-o'-lanterns everywhere, and I did really good as far as selling the books. I was definitely very smart to add some crime books. And then Tilda was like, hey, can you come to my shop later? And I was like, I'm really busy, but absolutely after. Look how crazy busy I ended up getting. I was doing requests left and right. It was kind of insane. I had nothing to offer them at some point. I wish I had the sellout goal here. Maybe I could have done it. Then we went into Tilda's old shop, and it's kind of like a haunted house. Harper was really scared. Me, whatever. It's fine. Until a ghost popped up. And I was like, Roderick, what are you doing here, ghost man? And we were scared, but it's okay. We got this mysterious grimoire, which, among other things, boosts fantasy sales, and that's pretty cool. Harper was really scared, but I told her she was brave, but she thought I was being sarcastic, and I felt bad because I wasn't. I was being truthful and sincere. And then, just so quickly, fall is over, and winter is here. Our first snow has fallen. Day 57, the first day of winter. We've got new seasonal items down at the bottom, and one woman has never run so fast in her life to buy fairy lights. And then it was time for our seasonal bookshop makeover. Honestly, didn't have a lot of paints I wanted to use, but I made a shocking discovery. Now, this is when we start really playing the game. I've never looked at this menu once. I've looked at the paint up at top, and I've never scrolled down to see that I can filter by boosting different genres. This whole time I've been kind of guessing, going to the other menu in my journal and was like, okay, it looks like this one's boosting, but I wasn't sure. This is the easiest way to do it. Just go and click on the genre you want and just equip things from here. I completely missed that. In the tutorial, they totally show it to you, but I totally was not paying attention, and it took me 57 days to realize. Also, 57 days in, what's going on with that murder? I've gotten nothing. Nothing. But you know what I do have? Support for Tilda, because Tilda's having her hip surgery, and now I've just unlocked the hospital. So I'm gonna be there for her because I'm a friend, and oh my gosh, this is the best day of my life because I have my first ever cat. I'm going to watch Tilda's cat. This is one of those items that I don't even want to call the cat an item, but she always stays there. Like, she may have certain buffs that I don't always need. I don't care. She's always staying there. Also, I only sold 40 out of 48 books, so even though I know how to play the game for real now, I still suck at it. Day 58, and I gain more brain cells because I learned there's also a category for boosting recommendations. And so now I find some items that I should always have on my shop to boost recommendations and customer count. Woohoo! But I'm stupid because I strolled up in here with negative money. So no brain cells again, because I knew that Tomas was going to ask me about something. Today they were asking me about chairs, but I have negative $7, so I couldn't afford anything. Right, so day 59, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. Look at me, I'm learning how to play, for real. Actually, look at me. I finally know my expenses. I know, customer count. Like, I have it. It took 59 days. But I am the professional tiny bookshop seller. I decided to go back to cafe because I'm sick of the far beach. Well, actually, we haven't talked about it yet. The far beach, it's locked during the winter. Yeah, it's locked. Can't even go there. Then I realized there are fish markets on this day of the week by the waterfront area, so I should probably have went there instead. But instead I came to the cafe because I never come to the cafe. I'm trying to go to all the places. This is evidence that I'm still selling books. I feel like I'm not showing you enough books. Look at the books. And I had a goal to sell books, and I sold the books. And then I went back home. I don't think I have a home. Do you think I live in the bookshop? I don't even know at this point. But it's day 60 now, and I went back to the Lighthouse. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I thought I could change my fate here. But once again, I showed up to the Lighthouse with negative money. Like, I know that Tomas comes in the beginning of the day, always. So what did I think was going to happen? I don't really know. Luckily, I did really good at the Lighthouse today, and I made a bunch of money. But it didn't matter because Tomas comes at the beginning, so I'm going to have to come back here again. I pretty much wasted this day if you think about it. But we don't think about it like that. I made money and I had fun, and that's all that matters, right? Right. Day 61, it's the day of Tilda's surgery, and I am a good friend, so I am here. I brought her cat, and we're going to show our support, but also get to know this new area. Of course, I took my stamp, and then I went to talk to these people over here, and they're bored out of their mind. They're like, oh my god, we need something to talk about, so can you sell 50 books here? Don't worry, not in one single day. 50 books in total, which that I could do. Then Miriam came by, and she was really worried about Tilda, but the surgery went well, and Tilda was like, I'm fine, but I'm bored, so can you go get me my favorite board game from the supermarket? And I was like, yes, my darling, darling queen, anything you need, sweetie pie, I got you. And we even got our first memory with Miriam, which was just so wholesome. Like, this part of the game has been very wholesome. I put getting this board game at the top of my to-do list, so day 62, I went to the supermarket. I also am still trying to sell all the books, and I'm still, I'm making recommendations, like we're making things happen, but not the right things. At least I got the board game, though, for Tilda. I did something right. I proved I'm a good friend, not a good bookseller. But I'm finally a good detective because I found a knife in the trash. So now we can finally go forward with our murder investigation. So Fern is like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. We need to start going around other locations and seeing what's up. So I'm in a new location. Just kidding. I'm in my favorite location. Day 63, back at the Lighthouse, because I'm like, okay, we gotta pay for the chairs. I have enough money to pay for the chairs. We're getting the expensive chairs, no foldable chairs. I'm chronically ill. I'm not gonna be able to sit in the foldable chair. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. So I got my stamp, and I'm so close to being done with the Lighthouse, which is really kind of exciting for someone who just really wants to collect all the stamps. Day 64, and look at that plus 15% customer count. Surely, now that I know how to play the game, I'm going to sell my entire stock on this Mega Savings Monday. It's for sure gonna happen. I've got my crime books boosted because they like crime here. There's nothing else in the trash, and there's nothing else in my heart because I only sold 42 out of the 48, which is better, but it's still a failure. Day 65, I have a board game to deliver to the hospital. That is my main goal, making sure my friend Tilda is okay. So I came and I brought her board game, and she was like, great. Okay, but now I need you to go pick up my lunch. Walt made me a sandwich. Can you go get it for me? And I was like, yes, anything for you, babe. Me and Miriam, we're on it. We're here to make sure you're comfortable, get you all your stuff. And then I noticed this strange guy. And I was like, what the heck are you doing here? And he's like, your place is a bloody death trap. You need to equip 3 safety items. And he's right, because I have the the murder knife in the bookshop right now, so probably not the best. Then I ran into Moira, and Moira was like, okay, hey, guess what? There's a winter market. I'm gonna need you to come to it. And then I had a nostalgic moment again because I read The Glass Castle for summer reading in high school, and it was a very sad book, but it stayed with me, and I was like, oh, I recognize that one. And then I was really bummed because I sold 49 out of the 50 books I needed. Not the biggest deal because I know I'd be back to deliver a sandwich, but it would have been nice if I just was able to do it. I went to go get the sandwich right away because this day in the game was also the day of the fish market, which I had never been to. So I was like, hey, Walt, sorry I don't come to see you enough. Love you. Thank you so much for the sandwich. Really appreciate that. You are my best friend. And then I looked to see what he had today, and I was like, in what world would I need a raw fish? I don't want any of that. And then there's the dog, and I felt so bad because the dog is still looking for food, and I was like, girl, I don't know where you're getting food from. Like, I don't have a bone, I don't have like anything. Then I'm getting some exposition on Fern, and Fern is always stressed because they gotta write everything. Then Walt was talking to me, and Walt was like, yeah, I like to throw fish at the dog because he eats it. And I was like, oh my god, the raw fish, the dog, it's all making sense. It took 66 days, but the dog is finally gonna get their treat. In the cold winter snow, I'm giving this dog a raw fish, and I'm so sorry. But I got the stamp, and that made me feel really good because then I got to adopt the dog, and I lost it. I started crying. I was like, I can't do this today. Like the cat, the dog is always going to be equipped. I don't care about the buffs. They're good. They're positive buffs. Then I got to pick their name. I got to name them Buddy, Behemoth, or Bailey, and I named them Buddy because I nicknamed my dog Buddy. I call him Little Buddy sometimes. And I got the stamp, and because I got that stamp, it means I finished the waterfront area. 66 days, my first complete stamp set. So this is what it's looking like so far. I've got like 3 out of 6 for some of them. I got 1 out of 7 for some of them. Doesn't matter about the rest of them. This one is complete. Day 67, I need just 1 more stamp for the Lighthouse. So I was like, let's keep going with this whole drama business. This is also obviously, like I said, my favorite section. And then I had to give you the close-up on my dog. Look at my dog. You can actually change the color of their little sweater, and I just can't even. So now my new goal for the show is to sell 50 tickets. This is another one of those passive machines I could just keep like on and it'll sell. I liked this prompt, which was someone needed a play that was gonna rip their heart out, and I was like, great, Romeo and Juliet sounds cool. And a fun little detail, all of the NPCs notice you have a dog now, and so they always give you little comments on it when they see you, and I love that. That is so special. And so they're like, wow, you have a dog, how cute. More of that. I eat that up. Day 68, and I get a beautiful letter from Tilda thanking me and her other friends for the support while she was in the hospital, and that was just so sweet. Unnecessary. I'm glad to deliver your lunch and all that stuff anytime. Actually, but first, I have to go to the university because it's exams, and I figured I probably would make some more money on exam day, and I was right. I got some buffs that made it so the stressed students bought more. But I was also there to support Anne, of course, and, and make a lot of money, which I did. I made, like, almost $100 on a snowy, kind of not so great weather day, and that's pretty impressive, I think. Day 69, and we get another letter from Tilda. This one gives us a little backstory about her friendship with Miriam, and this is the first time I realized that Moira is Miriam's grandchild. I did not know that until now. Very interesting. Then I completed that goal, which was to sell a bunch of books at the hospital, and passed her exams, but the rest of the day was a bust because I forgot to bring Tilda her sandwich, and I forgot my safety items too. Day 70, another note from Tilda, this one talking about her experience opening her past bookshop. Today I was going back to the hospital to try to redo what I did yesterday, but I realized I needed 3 safety equipment items. I only had 2, so I put out the 2 that I had and also Tilda's sandwich, so at least I can get a start on it. And then so I parked back at the hospital. I knew I needed to buy one more safety item, so I bought this fire extinguisher. Unfortunately, you can't equip things on the spot, so I would have to come back another day for that goal, but at least I got my stamp for the selling of the 50 books. But now there's drama, there's gossip, and the hospital workers, they want romance, and frankly, I understand them. So I had to make 3 romance recommendations to them, and I didn't really do any that day, but I'm sure we'll do some more. Then Tilda was like, wow, thank you so much for the sandwich. You know what'd be great? Pastries. Can you go get me some pastries now? And then I'm gonna go get her some pastries. Day 71, and I know on the calendar it says that there's a winter market, but I stupidly don't see the location that says winter market, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's at the cafe. It wasn't. It's at the winter market, but that's okay because I needed to come here anyway for the pastries, so we're gonna just pretend it was all a part of the plan. And hey, I found a snowman in the process, so no regrets. It wasn't long before Moira came and I got the strawberry tart that Tilda wanted. And then here's some evidence that I do sell books in this game. I'm just showing you. This is, most of the game is selling books, but I don't always include it because it's the video can't be 20 hours long, but I'm just letting you know I sell the books. Speaking of selling books, we're about to sell some more books because I got a horizontal shelf, so I'll be able to equip even more books in the store. And then 72, I realized, oh, there's an actual spot for the winter market. It's where the flea market is, but this is the winter one. So now I decided to go and see all of the different little stands. Some of them are the same as before, but there is some differences here. The main one being that there is like a festive holiday one, similar to how there was the Halloween one. But first, here is the art dealer again. I feel so bad. I never buy anything from him. I love you. And then Moira has a little like snack stand, and these 2 items give you buffs for that day, so they increase your recommendations for that single day, and they're kind of cheap, so they're a nice little item. And then I have this terrible challenge, which is to completely sell out, but at the winter market. And I was like, Moira, how am I gonna sell out at the winter market? I've been trying so hard to sell out my entire stock at the supermarket for a long time now and have been unable to do it, but I guess we'll figure it out. The other goal I had was to equip 4 festive items, and I would get the festive items here. They were so cute, but I was in the negative with my money, so I knew I'd have to come back later in the day after I had some sales. And just like how the flea market is, the winter market is really good for business. You could see I gained $121, so I was able to go back and I was able to get both the festive star and the festive garland, which I thought were just so cute, and I could not wait to put them on the bookshop. And then there was a furnace, but I decided the cold never bothered me anyway. We don't need to spend our money on it, so we won't worry about it yet. On day 73, I make a shocking discovery. When I go to put my new shelf, I realize it has to be configured a certain way. So I was moving things around, trying to see how I could fit all 3 of my different book holding furniture pieces. And when I did that, I accidentally opened this, and I saw that my flea market goal was now to sell 72 books at the winter market. And I was like, wait a second, it goes by how much storage I have in the store? So what if I only have the bucket? Then my goal is to only sell 8 books? Has it been that way for the other one? Could I, the whole time, have just put out the little bucket and only had to sell 8 books? The answer? Yes. I decided that 8 books was way too easy, so I was like, let's just equip the new shelf, which is 24 books. I was like, let's just do that, because it's less than the other one. Let's boost all the things that we need to boost. Here's me stocking the new shelf for the first time. Surely 24 books at the winter market where business is bustling should not be too difficult. So here I am going back at the winter market. We're opening up shop, and I'm feeling like, frankly, like I hacked the system. I'm like, I'm never gonna have any issues anymore. It's gonna be great. First, I checked out the stock. There wasn't really anything that was grabbing my attention from the others. And Moira has the same 2 items every day, so I don't know why I keep checking it. I think I learn after a few days that's the case, but I just want to double check. Make sure you don't have anything different. As for the festive person, they had another star, and they had a candle. Once again, I was in the negative to start the day, but I knew we would make it back, so it was fine. And we ended up doing just that. So eventually, you know, I'm racking in the sales. I almost sold all of my books. Like, hello, I was just too short. 22 out of 24. It's like the game purposely stops it because they want me to suffer. But at least I bought my star. I bought another star, so I've got some festive items. Day 74, and here is the bin of shame. Yep, 8 books. That's what we're going with. I decided to split it between crime and drama because I had items to boost those the most, and also I believed that they liked them in this area. This wasn't a good plan. I only had to sell 8 books, but all the customers, they didn't want these books. So I struck out a little bit, but then things turned around, and I was recommending good books to the point where I only had 1 book left. I had sold 7. I needed to sell 8. And can you guess what happened? Can you guess what happened? Yeah, the people got angry. They wanted books I didn't have. And now I end the day with 7 out of 8 books. So on day 75, we're trying a different approach. Still 8 books, but let's do 1 of each genre. And then since I have a repeat, we'll do 2 of the crime because I know I could boost that one a little higher. Maybe doing 1 of each genre will be more enticing. Surely after 75 days, I can sell 8 books. Like, after 75 days, if I can't sell 8 books in one day, I don't deserve to keep playing this game. Luckily, I hit gold here with my recommendations, and I did complete the goal of selling out my stock. Thank goodness, and since this strategy worked here, I was hopeful that I could bring the same idea to the market, to the supermarket. That is, this is also a market, but the supermarket. And also maybe complete that goal. That's the goal. Day 76, I'm equipping my safety items, and we are heading to the hospital to check another goal off of our list. I have my cute little fire extinguisher, my first aid kit, my tube. We're good, we're ready to go. And I got my stamps, and then I got back to my other goal, which was to recommend some more romance, and we had a wide interest of different type of romantic things. I was doing good at first with Heartstopper and the play that I recommended earlier, and then I gave Tilda the treats, and she was so happy, so I got a memory with her. She was so nice. And then I tried to recommend looking for Alaska as a casual book with romance, and they said it was too complicated for them. And I don't want to make them feel bad, but I read Looking for Alaska freshman year of high school, and I don't think it was that complicated, but maybe to each their own, to each their own. Anyway, look how many books I sold. Look at that stack. That's crazy. Day 77 and the bin of shame is back, but this time we're going to the supermarket because I got business to attend. Now, I should have not come here on a Sunday because I know they're closed on Sundays. I should have come on Mondays because Monday is the day they do the sale. But I was like, who cares? It's 8 books. It's like one of each genre. It's gonna be fine. But I only ended up selling 6 out of the 8 books, which was a display that I just don't even want to think about. Every time I come to the supermarket, I leave in shame. But that wasn't gonna help stop me and, giving up from my goals. So I decided on a Monday, the correct day, let's go back and let's try it again. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I still have not figured out the murder. I'm supposed to go talk to people at other locations, and I have been, and I've gotten nothing. Anyway, I sold out all the books. Thank goodness. I finally did it, and Klaus is proud of me. This goal was one I never thought I was going to actually make it through, but I did, and I got Klaus's amp as a souvenir, which was very exciting. I'm also still trying to sell the theater tickets, and I need just a few more. Day 79, and I bet you forgot about the castle ruins, because me too. So let's go there. This time, not just with our 8 bin of books, but the whole thing, all the books. So I stocked all the books, and Anne is like, oh my god, look at this nightmare drawing the children just handed me. Let's try to get them to not think about scary stories. Maybe we can recommend books with nature, like animals, and lucky for me, fictional animals count, so I got a point for Charlotte's Web. Moving on to day 80, because after Charlotte's Web, I didn't really have much success. We're going back to the winter market. I need to buy just one more festive decoration item, and lucky for me, the festive candle was calling my name, and I had enough money, so I grabbed that one. Then I explored what the other vendors had. I've been just enjoying the things that Moira has, so I've been getting them more. But in this case, I was really just there for my stamp. I was like, listen, I'll buy your almonds, I'll buy your coffee, but really, I just want my stamp. And I got my stamp. I talked to Anne to see what she was selling because I realized I never looked at what she was selling at the winter market. And as much as I loved the Christmas tree, I decided to get the mistletoe because it was much cheaper. It was very cute, so now I had another item. And then I saw Divergent. They wanted something with like a political message. I had nothing, so I went with Divergent, and I would argue that Divergent has a very political message. At least it did to me when I was 13, or maybe I was just blinded by thinking of the Hot Boys. I don't know, but it's political to me. Day 81, I went back to the market to show off my festive decor, and I did it. So I got my stamp, I felt super special, I got a festive wreath to celebrate, and I completed the entire flea market section, which means it's the second location I have fully completed. Then Tilda gave me the great news that she was able to fully go home from the hospital, which was amazing. Even better news, well, no, not as good as Tilda, but good news, I was doing good today, selling lots of stuff. And I finally got enough tickets to the show, which means I was on my way to completing the Lighthouse. Day 82, and I spent $200 on a dog bed, and I don't regret it, even slightly. Not at all, because the joy that I got when I strolled up to the Lighthouse and I looked at my puppy in their bed, oh, it was worth it. I would have paid $1 million. Anyways, Tomas is super excited. I raised all the money and gave me my stamp. Unfortunately for me, the play is next Friday because it's on a Friday and this day was Friday. But that's okay. It's going to be worth the wait, and at least I got the sticker, so I have another area done. Also, this is me admitting another prompt I always struggle with. I don't know what literary fiction means. Please explain, because I always get it wrong. Day 83, and I went back to the cafe because it's still one of my least visited places, and there are lots of stamps to still be had. And at this point, we're coming kind of close to the end of the video, so I want all the stamps that I'm owed. So Miriam owed me this stamp, and I was trying to fishing to see if she had any other quests for me. She did, actually. She was like, okay, I want you to put out some classy items, and I already had classy items, so I got 2 stamps pretty much for stuff I already did, which is really nice. And then Tilda came in to chat, and Harper came in to chat and told me it was Klaus's birthday, and I felt bad because we didn't go see Klaus that day. So, sorry Klaus, hope you had a nice birthday. Day 84, it is the last day of winter, and we only have one option as to where we can go. We have to go to the winter market for the final day, which is fine with me. I went around to the different shops for one last time. At this point, I have all of the things that I wanted, but I decided to just hop around anyway. And this is not only just a winter festival, but this also kind of serves as New Year's Eve, so it's the last day of the year, which is interesting because the next season we'll play in the game, it'll say year 2, but it'll be the first time we do the season, which I thought was kind of interesting. I made a lot of money that day, and then as soon as I closed, it was time to start the festivities. This one was a little bit more simple. We didn't have to burn anything this time. It was pretty much just all the NPCs gathering and counting down, which I will let you enjoy. And just like that, it's day 85, the first day of spring. So you already know we needed our spring makeover. I decided to go for some pinks, greens, browns. I realize I don't have that many paint colors, probably because I ignore the paint seller at the market all the time. But I like how this turned out. Of course, I made my dog match, and we went to the market on Monday. It's spring 1st, and it is stormy. This must be April showers for real. It's not great. Then at this point, I realized I don't have my bulletin board equipped, so I couldn't have been solving the murder mystery if I wanted to. And then I ran into Klaus, who forgave me, hopefully, for missing his birthday, and told me about Rye Park, which is the last location I needed. And look, it's all filled up. Okay, not the tasks are filled up, but the locations. I have them all now. We're gonna go to them now. And hopefully, in the last 15 days, try to complete everything. Day 86, and I'm way overstocking the fantasy books. What could that mean? I know it's been a long time since we've been to Far Beach. Far Beach was closed for the winter. It was locked. We were not allowed in. And so the first second I can get, I came back to try to sell these gosh darn fantasy books. That's all I want. I want to sell my fantasy books. So I am recommending and requesting that everybody come here and buy fantasy books for me. Then Anne gave me this strange plant that only grows when you're in the city, like not by the water. So I decided I'm just gonna always keep this plant equipped and then maybe it'll be okay. And then finally, I sold my 15 fantasy books. All I needed was to know how to play the game and to be 86 days in. Then on day 87, I go to Rye Park for the first time. I really like this location. This one might be my new favorite, or at least tied with the Lighthouse. I got my stamp just for showing up. And the main thing about this one is there's a bulletin board where there's different events that happen on different days of the week. So on certain days, there's a yoga class. On other days, there's chess. And it's interesting because you can come here almost every day of the week and something different is happening. So one of the goals is to experience all of the different groups that exist. And it's also kind of dynamic because certain groups won't meet unless the weather is good, which we find out from Fern. Fern is like, I really want to make friends. Please tell me, can you help me? Can you join all of the groups? And then after you join, I'll feel more comfortable to join. And I was like, sure, Fern, anything for you. So the first group that was here was the chess club chess group. I don't know how to play chess. Luckily, I didn't need to. I told them I don't know how to play chess. I got the achievement for just talking to them, but then you can actually play a round of chess, and by that, all you're doing is indicating if you want to move the black piece or the white piece, and just by clicking that, it gives you a whole series of events that happen that you can read through, and in my case, I won my first game of chess ever. I don't know how to play it, still, but it doesn't matter because I won and I got an achievement for that, and that's all I really wanted. And I even got a little buff for that too. Here I am again, striking out on literary fiction. Every time someone asks for literary fiction, I give them a classic that's fiction. And it's wrong! Can you help, please? This is one of the prompts I get wrong every single time, and I know I could Google it, but I'm not going to. Day 88, I'm stocking all the crime stuff. I'm stocking all the travel stuff in this beautiful red and purple kind of order. Now that I have so much space, I kind of am just like going crazy. They really like the crime in the park, so will I find a murder weapon here? Maybe. We'll find out. I'm always usually checking in the journal to see what books they like the best in each location now, and I'm always trying to stock most of that. We went to the yoga group today, and I loved this because I do yoga in real life, and I've had some medical problems recently where I haven't been able to do the yoga, and I just started getting back into it literally like the week I played this, so really nice to see it in the game, and was another kind of wholesome, nostalgic moment for me while I was playing. And this encounter goes on for a long time. You can actually just read through it, and it's like you're taking a nice little mini yoga class. I don't know how my character got away with leaving the bookstore unattended. Maybe the cat and the dog are running it, but I'm over here doing downward dog in the park, and that's what I'm doing. Now, if I didn't know anything about Fern, I would consider them a creep here for staring at us while we're doing our yoga, but I know Fern really just wants to make friends and is shy, so we're not going to think about it too much, even though I looked a little creepy. But hey, at least I got my stamp, and now we're moving on to day number 89. I'm going to the Lighthouse. I have no option. I'm being forced to go to the play. But that's okay because I would have went anyway after all of my hard work to get here, you know? All of my friends showed up to support as they should because I am the producer of the play. I funded the whole thing. Even Walt came, and I feel bad because I never visit Walt, but he always shows up for me. Tomas is absolutely freaking out, and I have to be like, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Fern is now a theatrical reviewer and is going to write about this, so it better be good. And here we are, Tomas and my production of Julius Caesar, which, believe it or not, for a woman who attended performing arts high school and college, I have never read this play. I know what happens, but I have never read this play, and I'm a little embarrassed about that. Is this the play I would have chosen? Maybe if I had read it, I would have more to say about it. But anyway, here we are watching the production, and I love the addition of the berets that everyone is wearing. I love a beret. I think the set looks amazing. And then we're taken through this super dramatic, like, retelling of what happens, and pretty much it's based off of the decisions you made. If you bought the good chairs, if you bought the good lights, if you bought the good props. And in my case, because I spent all of the money, everything looked super crazy and realistic, and the production turned out really, really good. Yeah, like standing ovation screaming good. And that was so amazing. Day 90 and the regular flea market is back. They had most of the same stuff they had in the past, so I didn't buy anything, but I did get a new memory with Klaus, and now because we had the theater show on the stage, Klaus can use it for their concert, which is very exciting, and also my fun little plant grew. So I have to make sure to keep going to other locations to get it to grow more. Then, on day 91, I went back to the park because there was a different group meeting today, and I really wanted to experience all of the different groups before this 100 days was over. And today was a very special one because today was the writers group, and I swear I'm not making things up. I know I was just like, I just recently started yoga again. I actually just started going to a writers group in real life within the past couple of weeks too. So you can imagine this game was hitting all the spots for me. It really seemed like it came into my life at a time that was very relevant. And then after the writers group, I sold a lot. I got 167 coins that day, which is quite a bit if I say so myself. And then on day 92, I went back to the hospital because I had some unfinished business there. Mainly, I had to keep doing my recommendations, my romance recommendations, to be clear, because I was kind of hit or miss the last time I came. So I decided to give it my best, and I was doing pretty good. I didn't recognize a lot of the books that I had, but I kind of just guessed when I could, and for the most part, I guessed correctly. And then Tilda stopped by, and she was like, "Hey, can you help my friends in the hospital? We want to have a garden. So we need money for the garden. Could you collect 200 coins?" I collected 102 coins that day alone without even knowing I was going to do it, so seems like a pretty easy goal for me. And because I was at a new location I hadn't been with the plant grew a bit more, so only needed a little bit more to go. And then day 93, I'm stocking my books to go to the castle ruins. This is one of the locations that I just have not, unfortunately, spent that much time with, but I knew that I needed to continue to recommend the animal and nature books to the children so they don't pee-pee their pants with nightmares at night. And, you know, I don't know that I think of fish necessarily when I think animal. I don't know why, but catching carps, the book about carps counted, and that's all that really matters. It's a nature or animal book. I mean, I guess that's kind of nature too. This one counted too, the Animorphs book, which is crazy. It's about those kids who like morph into like weird animals. I couldn't believe that counted, but they loved it, so worked for me. Harper was here, and Harper was just like popping in. Harper just pops in all the time, but it's okay. We love Harper. And then I raised enough money for the community garden project already. It's literally been like a day, but I'm making lots more money now that I know how to play the game a little bit more. Day 94, I was taking a look at what was possible for me to achieve in the last couple days because we came to the realization, okay, I'm not going to be able to 100% the game in 100 days, but I didn't really think that I would. So let's just try to tie up as many loose ends as we can as far as getting all of those stamps. So you know, I put so many drama books on the shelf. For the first time I realized if you put a whole bunch of them and you boost it enough, they actually start glowing, which I didn't realize until now, day 94. So I went back to the hospital because I still need to consider giving people some nice romance in their life. And I'm really trying to finish this goal today. This one was really interesting because they just wanted a happy ending. And I stumbled across The Duke and I, which I had no idea is Bridgerton. I don't think I knew Bridgerton were books, but now I fear I'm going to a bookstore because I love that show so much and did not even know. So that was cool, and it was a right answer, so that's pretty good. Moving on, I'm continuing to talk to these people. I did what they wanted. I romanced everybody. Well, no, I gave them romance books, but I guess that's the same thing. And then Tilda gave me my stamp for the community garden, and it feels very rewarding. Like I did a lot of things in one day. And I sold a pretty decent amount of books. I mean, look at that stack. Drama and crime books. I want to know what that person's up to for sure, but very successful day. On day 95, I could only go to the Lighthouse. They forced me because it's the day of Klaus's concert. Of course, I was going to be going anyway because I'm a supportive friend. I'll have you know I'm searching every single day for clues for the murder, by the way, and I'm still never finding them, but it's okay. After I sold some books, Tomas was like, wow, the play went so good, we're gonna keep doing it, so keep coming back to the play if you want to see it more, and it's going to bring in some lovers of classic things. So I imagine maybe in this location, other than drama, the classic sales will boost as well. That's what that tells me. Then Klaus comes up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Remember when I played my guitar at the bonfire at the beginning of the video? I was scared then, but now I'm really scared. And I was like, you should just try your best. Maybe it'll be fine. And then I sold a bunch of stuff. We had a lot of eager concert goers ready to buy some books before they listened to some tunes. Works for me. And then it was time to go support my friends. Moira's in the band too, by the way. I don't think I told you that, but Moira's also in the band, so we're not just supporting Klaus, we're supporting both of our friends and the random drummer. So let's take a listen to Klaus's finished song that I helped inspire.
1, 2, 3, 4. Sleepless, no replies, dreaming, a kingdom lies, pages always just outside of sight, what do they hide? I'm here to teach you that hidden knowledge seeks you, and I will beseech you to take out that mental rope. I'll stay up till day breaks, read until your eyes fall out, your sergeant's stuck, your spirit lifts, walk those hollow halls of history. Let's make some noise for our tiny bookshop. I'm here to teach you that hidden knowledge seeks you, and I will beseech you to take out that mental weird brow. Stay up till day breaks, read until your eyes fall out, your sergeant's stuck, your spirit lifts, walk those hollow halls of history.
Now you get to decide yourself whose applause was bigger. Was it the concert or the play? I think they both absolutely killed it. And of course, I got the memory for it, and my business was done here. Now looking at it, I also completed the hospital. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 areas complete, and I've got 4 days left. So can I at least maybe complete another one? Take your guesses now. On day 96, I went to the cafe because, again, I've not done that much here. Wanted to see if I could get something cooking. And I came in on a fight between Miriam and Moira. Difference of opinion of Miriam kind of just like wants to do everything. Moira wants to help, but the help is not the kind of help that Miriam needs. And I'm like somehow in the middle of it. Moira's complaining to me about it. And I'm like, I don't know. I just sell the books. And then Tilda was like, you gotta help them. And Tilda, listen. I'm a mediocre bookseller. Well, I'm not a therapist. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna show support, but that's about it. They should go like talk to someone. And then my plant grew, and it's like a kind of a scary plant. It boosts crime, so I think maybe this plant is the murderer. Maybe that's why I never figured it out. Maybe this plant was just too close to the balloon and that was the problem. I don't know. We'll never know. Well, maybe in 3 days we'll figure it out. Yeah, totally. Day 97, we're back in the park once again because I gotta try to experience all of the other groups. I'm really determined here. And this day, I got to go to the study session. Here we are with our books. We're ready to study. And of course, I got my stamp for attending. And at this point now, I had experienced all of the groups. But I was still missing one stamp because there was some unknown challenge that I had not received quite yet. Now, this part is sad. Tilda invites me to a birthday party, her birthday party on the 18th. The problem with that is this video ends on the 16th, so we're gonna have to decide if we want to go to the party next time, guys. You can let me know if you want to see more in the comments. But yeah, on day 97, I sold lots of books, and I was really glad to have joined the last club that I needed. On day 98, we went back to my favorite spot, the far beach, and wow, it was so worth it to see Harper on this ginormous sandcastle. No wonder they needed me to raise so much money. This was crazy and worth all of the effort of selling all of those fantasy books. What a nice moment to see Harper just completely the queen of the castle. I love it so much, and this game is just so sweet. Like, it's just so sweet. But then it's weird because there's like a question mark, and it's making me feel like there's gonna be someone in there that like pops out at me. I investigated, I clicked through all the options, and it said it's abandoned for now. So I don't know, is there gonna be a murderer in there at some point? Maybe. And then Anne came by and was like, wow, the plant. You did it. It looks cool. And like was measuring it. And the plant actually trapped a slug. So then Anne is just tossing me more plants. Anne was like, okay, take this plant. This plant only grows in the rain, okay? So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, Anne. I'll keep this plant equipped, but this isn't happening by the time we're done. Then I got a new memory with Harper for having the sandcastle completed, which was just so great. Again, Far Beach and I have had a rocky relationship, but in the end, I think it all was worth it. Day 99 I spent at the supermarket, and once again, I have no leads on the murder. I'm clicking on every single thing, like thinking I missed something, thinking could I go in the grocery store? Like, is there a way I could go in the grocery store? Maybe I'm dumb, probably, but I never figured it out. It's okay though, I got this massive sign, and this is sus. Klaus is like, it's to die for. So maybe if I put this sign up, I'll find the murderer. I don't know. I have no idea, and I'm sure you can guess by now. We go through this video never finding out because it's day 100, and I didn't really know where I wanted to spend the last day until I saw on the newspaper that there was a cruise ship arriving today. I had no idea what that meant, and I had no idea where that was. So I kind of tried to use my context clues, and I decided that that probably meant it was at the waterfront area, which was a nice place to end on since that's where we started. As you can see, I equipped that hideous sign. It actually makes your customer count go way down, so decided I didn't want that for today. And then I equipped a bunch of items that I thought I would need here because I know they really like travel items at this location. And yeah, I may have already gotten all of my stamps here. I probably could have went to a different location to prioritize the stamps, but I wanted to see what this cruise ship business was about. So I stocked all of my books for the final time, trying to prioritize the ones I thought they'd like, but then also filling in the rest. At this point, just kind of going with the flow, like how we started. And there is the cruise ship, so I was right about where it was coming in from. And listen, cruises aren't my thing. I watched Poop Cruise on Netflix, but I thought it was a nice little last moment until I realized that Walt does not like the cruise ship. He's like, the cruise ship is terrorizing the wildlife, so you need to scare the people away. So maybe not the most wholesome of last days, but I want to protect the wildlife. I mean, I've got a cat and I've got a dog, you know. I didn't have anything to scare them away today, necessarily, so this last day was really just about enjoying my time. Once again, I am picking things up, talking to Walt, seeing if he has anything on sale that I would like, and, some things never change, and I didn't buy anything, even though he literally just gave me the quest to buy a bunch of his items. But I did really like that awning, and that boat was pretty cool. Moira stopped by and wanted a dystopian book, and I said, oh, I know the answer here, and Handmaid's Tale was a hit. Oh my goodness. Tilda stopped by and decided to tell me that she loved my birdhouse and that I was doing such a good job, and also that she kind of has made peace with the closure of her bookshop, and she's in support of mine fully, which is very, very nice and sweet. And of course, I ended day 100 the way we deserve, by giving Buddy a nice little pet and saying that you are the best boy, and I closed my bookshop for one final time in this video. And then, just to recap, this is where I was at in the calendar, so we didn't get to go to the last festival or see the departure of the cruise ship. We finished most of the areas, I guess half of them. We finished the waterfront, we finished the Lighthouse, we finished the flea market, we finished the hospital, and we finished... that's it. And that's it. That's all the ones. But we got close on a couple of the other ones, at least. Like, we were one away on the park. That feels like a win to me. And as far as the character memories go, we did a lot of them as well. It seems like there's still a lot more to be found, but I had the most with Klaus, and I was actually surprised I did as many tasks as I did for him. Miriam, we only had the one. Moira, we had 2. Harper, we had 2. And I actually had none with Walt, but I had 1 with Fern and 1 with Anne, 2 with Tilda, and that's that. And there you have it. That was 100 days of my first time playing Tiny Bookshop. I hope you enjoyed this video so much. It was a different kind of 100-day video for me, and even the fact that my face cam is not telling you this information right now is also different from me. So let me know if you enjoyed it down below. Be sure to click the lovely little like button on your way out if you did, and subscribe for more cozy gaming content. All in all, I mean, I'm not making this a review, but I feel like you can kind of see the vibe from how I spoke about the game. I really did enjoy my time with Tiny Bookshop. I mentioned in the beginning I wasn't intending to make a video covering this game because I have not been, making videos recently, but this one was just so sweet, so wholesome, and I don't know, it kind of is just like what I needed, and I really enjoyed the experience, so I wanted to see how far I could get in the game, how many achievements I can get done, and I really want to complete all the achievements in this game, and that's normally not something I care a whole lot about, to be honest, but let me know if you want to see more Tiny Bookshop. Maybe we need to find a way to catch the murderer together. Who knows? But let me know all of your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. I can't thank you enough. And I hope you have a great rest of your day/night. All the love, all the love. Bye-bye.